What's up, YouTube? This is Hip Hop Fanatic, aka Will, and today on this channel, we're gonna rank DJ Khaled's albums from worst to best. Now, if you don't know who DJ Khaled is by now, I don't know what to tell you. The dude is literally everywhere. Like, come on, man. He's a one-time Grammy winner, two-time nominee. He's from New Orleans. He was part of Terror Squad. If you didn't know, young kids might not know who Terror Squad is, but Terror Squad, they pull up a print, lean back. You know that song that with Fat Joe, Big Pun, R.I.P. Big Pun, Remy Ma, and a bunch of other people I can't even name because I don't really know much about Terror Squad either. But DJ Khaled, yeah, he's been in the rap game for over 10 years, making bangers almost seems like every year. He's got 12 or 13 studio albums. I'm not sure about that, but if you don't know, you can all look up this information on Wikipedia. It's crazy how we didn't used to trust Wikipedia back in the day, but now it's just like the center of information. But yeah, today we're gonna talk about DJ Khaled's albums. Now, before we get into it, so what makes a great album? In my opinion, it's a lot of things. Music is very subjective. You could think cadence is what makes a great album. Production makes a great album. Bars, the intro, the track list. In my opinion, it's a lot of those things combined. So first is we have 6 different categories, all go up to a measurement of out of 10, and we'll rank each category on each album out of 10. So the first one I have is the flow or the track list. I personally think artists make up a track list for a reason. They don't just put random songs everywhere. There's a method to their madness, you know what I'm saying? So the flow or the track list is very important. Since we're talking about DJ Khaled, and DJ Khaled does a lot of stuff with other artists, he collabs with a lot of other artists. I mean, he's a DJ, that's what DJs do, right? We're gonna talk about his versatility. And what I mean by versatility is his selection of artists he uses on his albums. So versatility is a big one for DJ Khaled. Bars, of course the bars, like what? Come on, man, you can't have a great album. In my opinion, you can't have a great album without bars. You just can't. It's undeniable. The production, are the beats infactual? Is that a word? Is the beats infactual? Does it hook you? Are you just one of those people that don't listen to the lyrics and just listen to the beat? Like, the beat is just so good. You have the intro and the outro. The intro, of course, is the first song that plays. Does it hook you? Does it automatically make you want to listen to more? That's what the intro is for. It's to introduce you to the album, basically, or the mixtape or the EP. It's the first song. The outro is very important. Did you get bored listening to all the songs before you got to the outro? Did the outro leave you wanting for more music? That's what I think the outro's purpose is for all music. The hook, the chorus, very important because we're in a very hook culture now. I mean, Quavo, the baby, we're in a very hook culture. Let's talk about it. DJ Khaled's worst album is I Changed a Lot. So this album had a 23 out of 60 score. The flow was 3 out of 10. The bars was not good. It was 2 out of 10. But it had strong hook. It had a decent hook and it had a decent intro and outro. The album featured 22 artists. It's the 8th studio album. The most used artist was Future and Rick Ross. And the top song on the album was Gold Slugs, which had 83 million views on YouTube. Now, this album was, after listening to it multiple times, this album was it was okay. I'm gonna be honest, I personally didn't like it. And I didn't let that, guide my numbers. I wasn't biased, but it was just not what I expected it to be. Well, usually when somebody says I changed a lot, usually they change, but it was just the same DJ Khaled formula. Just use the hook master Future and one of the greatest bar spitters, Rick Ross, on every freaking song. It was a solid album. It just wasn't up to par. So Next album on the list with DJ Khaled's fourth studio album, Victory, is next. It had a total score of 27 out of 60, which is 4 more than I Changed a Lot. It was solid. It was okay all around. The lowest points was probably the intro and the outro, the hook, the chorus of every song. The track list was alright. It featured 33 artists. The most used artists were Shife, and I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. Shife, I'm not sure. And Rick Ross again. The best song on that album was, of course, All I Do Is Win. It has 113 million views on YouTube. Your grandparents know this song, bro. And then they had a remix. The remix was kind of cool, but it was long. But it had no, it wasn't. It had Ludacris, Snoop Dogg. No, Snoop Dogg was in the original, but Ludacris was on the remix. I think. I gotta double check that. But All I Do Is Win. Everybody knows that song. They play it at graduations. They play it at entertainment centers. They play it in basketball games. They play it everywhere. So it's a universal song. I can see how it did so well. The whole album, Victory, was just, it wasn't good. With DJ Khaled's seventh studio album, the next worst, I guess better than the last, was Suffering From Success, which came out in 2013. All around, it got a 30 out of 60 for a total. The versatility, the artist he used on this album was, he used a lot of different artists. The production, the beats were great. Like, not great, but the beats were pretty good on this album. It was definitely listenable. The track list was a little lacking. It just didn't flow right. There was a total of 28 artists used on this album. He used Asahd, Rick Ross, and Meek Mill the most, and the song that did the best was No New Friends. They had 38 million views on YouTube. I mean, No New Friends had Drake, Wayne, Ross, and it was a meme at one point. I remember when it was a meme. It was Suffering From Success. I personally didn't like this album either. The next album, his second studio album, well, I thought it was his first. The second studio album, which was We the Best, came out in 2007. It had a total score of 38.5 out of 60. And its strongest, I guess, categories were the hook and the chorus. The track list, it just flowed from the beginning all the way to the end. It was just solid. It was just very solid. It was fake decent from the beginning to the end of the album. It had a total of 25 artists. The most used artist was Rick Ross, and the best song on that album was I'm So Hood. It had 15 million views on YouTube. I mean, I'm So Hood was a classic. It had T-Pain on the hook. Yeah, it had T-Pain on the hook. My favorite song on the album was Brown Paper Bag. It had Joel Santana, Jeezy. It had Young Jeezy on there. It just sounded really good, in my opinion. I don't know if it's over I'm So Hood. Yeah, in my opinion, it's over I'm So Hood. But I'm So Hood is just a hood classic. It's like March Madness, you know. People would never get, that song would never get old, you know what I'm saying? With the sixth studio album, Kiss the Ring is next. It came out in 2012. It has a 40.5 out of 60. The strong suits of this album was the intro and the outro. It was very solid. Kept me engaged. I think it kept the listeners engaged. The bars was pretty good. The versatility was pretty good too. The track list was just trash. They had a total of 28 artists on this album. The most used artist was Asahd. I think this was around the time Ruthless had came out, so Asahd was definitely on the up and coming. And the most listened to song on this album was Take It to the Head. It had 40 million views on YouTube. I like Take It to the Head. They had Chris Brown on it. You know, Chris Brown is a great singer, great artist. It was definitely, and I think it had Wayne in it too. You know, Wayne is an OG. Wayne is top five best rappers alive. You can fight me on that, but It was solid. Kiss the Ring was solid. Good. Next on that list is his 12th studio album, his latest album, which is Khaled Khaled, which came out in 2021. This was a solid album. I personally tried not to like it because it's new Khaled, it's not old Khaled, but it got a 41 out of 60. Very solid, very good production. I don't know who he had on the beats, but the beats was smacking. The beats was smacking on this album. I say the low point is probably the track list and the versatility. It seemed like he just put songs together. He just made a bunch of singles and just put them all together. It seemed kind of lazy, but like I said, this is new Khaled. This is commercial Khaled. This ain't hood Khaled no more. Which is nothing wrong with commercial Khaled. He still makes good music. It's just not for the hood. You know what I'm saying? He had a total of 27 artists on this album. The most used artist was Lil Baby, and Lil Baby, he hot right now. I think he's overrated, but that's a different discussion for a different day. He's a good artist. Don't get me wrong. He's a good artist, but he's just slightly overrated. The most popular song on this album was Pop Star. Of course, Drake. It had 261 million views on YouTube. But my favorite song on this album was Sorry Not Sorry with Nas and Jay-Z. I never thought that Nas and Jay-Z would work together again ever since the beef they had. And I forgot what the beef was about. But this happened in like the early 2000s. If you a kid, you didn't know nothing about this beef. But I never thought they would work together. But it's great production, good bars from Nas, good bars from Jay-Z. They just work well together. They feed off each other, and it was just a crazy track. And I don't know what Jay-Z was talking about, but that's another B. You still ain't talked about the other B. I was like, what? That's a triple B. I was hyped. I was hyped listening to the album. I really was, but that's my favorite song. Sorry Not Sorry. But it's a solid album. Khaled Khaled, solid album through and through. Next album on the list is his 10th studio album, which is Grateful. Came out in 2017. This is what I'm gonna call this the fake decent category. It got a 41 and a half out of 60. Its lacking part was probably its track list. The flow of the track list was not good. But it had great production. It had a great intro and outro. It had great versatility. It had a lot of artists on this as well. It had a total of 35 different artists. But the most used artist was Future. And this was the point in time where I thought Future was very overrated, like 2017. But Future grew on me slowly. I'm the One was the best song on this on this album. It had 1.6 billion. Yes, billion views on YouTube. I mean, it had Justin Bieber, it had Quavo on there, it had Wayne on there. It was a hot song, man. I didn't want to like it. Wasn't Chance the Rapper on there? No, I don't think Chance the Rapper was on there. But it was a hot song. Grateful was pretty good. Next in the fake decent category is his 5th studio album, which is We the Best Forever, and it came out in 2011. I was going to say 2011, but that sounds so weird. Came out in 2011. It got a 42 out of 60, so only a half a point higher than Grateful. It was pretty solid all around. The flow, the bars, the production, intro, outro. It was solid all around. It had a total of 34 artists on this album. The most used artist was T-Pain, aka the Hook Master. Man, if you got T-Pain on your song, it's a banger, bro. Cause T-Pain, he's just great at making hooks. He's good at making songs too, but if you got T-Pain on your song, you automatically know it's a banger. It's like having Drake. It's like having Drake on a hook. It's like having Quavo on the hook. It's like having Future on the hook. You just know it's a banger, bro. It's just, there's no way around that. The best song on this album was Welcome to My Hood. Had T-Pain on it. It has 61 million views on YouTube. But my favorite on this album was I'm Thuggin'. I'm Thuggin' had Ace Hood and Waka Flocka on it.
And this was around the time Waka Flocka had like just blew up. He made Oh Let's Do It. He made uh, Grove Street Party. He made a bunch of other stuff. I think his album had just came out, or his second one had just came out in 2011. But I'm Thuggin' was my favorite. I did like Money a little bit. It had Ludacris and Young Jeezy on it, but I couldn't put it over I'm Thuggin'. With his third studio album, We Global, which came out in 2008, was the next fake decent album. Actually, I take that back. We're going to go out of fake decent. We're going to go with pretty damn good. It was pretty damn good. It was strong in a lot of areas, but it wasn't weak. And I mean, the bars was kind of weak, but it's still pretty solid. 6 out of 10. I mean, the hooks and the chorus was fire. It was fire. 9 out of 10. I was engaged the entire time. I think that's what brought it over the top. It had a total of 36 artists. The most used artist was Rick Ross. The most used artist was Rick Ross. And the number one song on this album was Out Here Grinding, which had 24 million views on YouTube. It's crazy how the older albums have less views, or the older songs have less views than the new one. But you gotta think, but 2008, we was on YouTube, but we wasn't on YouTube like that. You know what I'm saying? But We Global was pretty good, pretty damn good album. With the 11th studio album, Father of Asahd was the second to best studio album he ever had. It came out in 2019. I personally didn't like Father of Asahd because it seemed like more of a dedication to his son, and I don't really like dedications. Like For Your Eyes Only, J. Cole. I really didn't like that album because it seemed like he was dedicating it to somebody else. It was still a good album, but I just personally, that's another time. I'm not gonna get into J. Cole. We'll save that for another video. But Father Asahd, after listening to it and trying to get past everything, it was pretty good. It was pretty damn good. 46.5 out of 60. Just a half higher than We Global. The only thing he lacked in was the versatility. Other than that, production was pretty good. Track list was pretty good. The hooks and chorus was pretty good. It was a pretty solid album. He had a total of 29 artists. I don't know if I said that. He had a total of 29 artists on this album. He used 5 different artists the most on this album. That's why I said the versatility was kind of lacking, because he used 5 artists. 5, not 1 or 2, not 3, 5. He had Buju Banton, which he's worked with before. I didn't know that. He had Wayne, he had Big Sean, he had Meek Mill, and he had Lil Baby. But it was still solid all around. The most liked song on this album was No Brainer. It had 326 million views on YouTube when I checked it at that time. I mean, No Brainer had Justin Bieber and Quavo, and I want to say Chance the Rapper. I don't know. I gotta fact check that. But my favorite song on that album was Just Us. I'm a sucker for old beats, and it took the old Outkast beat. Sorry, Miss Jackson. Was it Miss Jackson? I think Miss Jackson was the instrumental. And SZA sounds really good on this. And she's just a good artist, singing wise. And now for the moment of truth, the stuff you all been waiting for, unless you skip the video, which I really would be disappointed if you skip the whole video, get to the best album. The best album, his ninth studio album, Major Key. This is the best DJ Khaled album I've ever heard so far, unless he drops something else. He might. But Major Key, which came out in 2016, was the best album I've ever heard from him. The flow was great. The versatility was great. The bars, the production. The intro and the outro were kind of lacking, but it's all good. It got a 49.5 out of 60 total. No album got a perfect score. I guess I'm very, very, very hard on these artists, but it was just all around great album. It had I Got the Keys on there. It had For Free with Drake on there. It had a song with J. Cole on there. It had a total of 32 different artists, but the most used artist was Future. I mean, if you want to have a good hook, if you have a banger, you choose Future. the most liked song on this album was "Do You Mind," which had 371 million views on YouTube. But my favorite was "I Got the Keys." I mean, Future's on the hook. Jay-Z was spitting. Don't know what he was saying, but he was spitting facts. I think I really enjoyed this album, and I actually had to listen to it a couple more times before I actually made the decision to make this DJ Khaled's best album. Now, if he does anything else that tops this album, of course, we'll add it to the list. We'll do a whole nother video for it. But I hope y'all enjoyed the video. I'm not even going to say leave it a like. I'm not even going to say subscribe. If you want to subscribe, if you want to be a hip-hop fanatic like me, or if you already are a hip-hop fanatic like me, subscribe to this channel, ring that bell, and with that, I'm out. Peace.